how different are sporting events in Australia in comparison to wherever you live? I mean, I'm going to make my comparison to the UK because that's where I lived for most of my life after moving to Australia 5 years ago. But today we're going to a footy game, which for anyone that's not really Australian, that actually means rugby league or AFL. But this one's rugby league. And I'm going to be going with this one. And the neighbours who's currently trying to talk to me. Say hello, mate.
Hello.
As you can tell, I'm not the Dolphins supporter. Are you looking forward to going to watch the Dolphins today, mate?
Adam.
Are they going to win?
Yeah, they did the win.
He seems pretty confident. What about you?
Annie.
She's just there for the twisties and snacks, really. So the first major difference that I notice is the general family atmosphere associated with an Australian sporting event. There's families everywhere. Toddlers, grandparents. I mean, I've not brought any grandparents with me today, or my toddler, but other people do. And that's mainly because it's more of a safer vibe. I hate that word. Okay, let's just try a safer atmosphere compared to the more rowdier football or soccer, if you're going to call it, that I'm used to back in the UK. Yes, I'd love to take my eldest to an Arsenal game, but I would have the air of a slight more protectionism. Is that even a word? I mean, I would be a bit more worried with her. Even to back up the family atmosphere in Australia, they have extra things put on just for kids. It's almost like they're grooming them for a lifetime of sporting activity. What a horrible place to be. It could also be that there seems to be less alcohol-related behaviour. That's not to say that people don't drink. I mean, I am drinking today. And they even let you drink in the stands. Imagine the carnage that there would be at a UK football match if they let the idiots drink in the stands as well. But on the whole, it just seems to be less aggression, even though the security presence, I'd say, is probably equal, if not higher. Maybe that's the reason why. Or it could be the fact that they've got armed police in the ground. That'll probably do it. It also might help the fact that the weather normally is more conducive to just a happy environment. Yeah, sure, you get grey skies and bits of drizzle, but those are few and far between, which seems to be the contrast in the UK, where that is most of the time, unless it's at the end of the season, and then we get our 2 or 3 weeks of summer just nice and early. I wouldn't say that this is necessarily shorts and thongs weather, and when the sun drops at this time of year, it does get a little bit cold. And I have to say, the first time that I saw Broncos woolly hats in the shop, I thought, why would anyone ever need that, until I obviously realised. But having just nicer weather means that you can dress appropriately. Now, I'm going to be honest, I do miss some of the really old rickety stadiums in the UK, but only because they were quirky. Australian stadiums, they're just more modern, open. They look quite like an architectural spectacle. Say that 10 times fast. They design things like going to get a beer really easily, or food. Now, I'm not saying that the older grounds are worse. It's like comparing apples to oranges. I mean, I know they're both stadiums, so they're not really fully different. But I just like how in Australia, particularly since the Sydney Olympics, everything seems to be reasonably well designed. Like they're trying to get people in and out of the stadiums in the most efficient way possible. And things just don't seem so cramped. Now, one thing that is different that maybe it's not a good thing, is the crowd energy. Now, this might just be with my experience and the teams that I see. I'm going to get loads of people just mocking me for being a Broncos supporter now, or I'm going to watch the Dolphins game. But the cheering in Australia, it's a bit more laid back. I mean, they really do try. There's drums and stuff. I even like the fact that if it was a Broncos game, that there's a little horse running around. But the banter is a bit lighter. It's family friendly. Every now and again, I do like a rude chant, particularly if it's addressed at the opposing team. It's not to say that the atmosphere is worse. I mean, the stadium today was about half full. That's not really going to help proceedings. But whilst the crowd energy feels a lot more family focused, it does feel a bit different. And I know I'm sounding like a whinging pom right now, but I don't mind this one. But I have to say, for my kids, I prefer this one, because if I have to trade off safety for a slightly friendlier energy and atmosphere, then I guess I'm going to take this one. Even though sometimes it feels a little bit slightly more American, particularly with things like halftime shows. Like, they don't really do halftime shows in the UK. You just all huddle inside to go and get a beer because you're not allowed to bring them out in the stands, and just to try and stay a bit warmer, I guess. Now, if you're watching this video and you're thinking to yourself, Ross, I want a lifestyle like yours living in Australia, but I have absolutely no idea how to start. Or perhaps you're even in Australia watching the game and you're thinking, how am I going to stay here long term? Well, you need to speak to the sponsors of our video, True Blue Migration Services. We've been working with them for over 4 years, and together we've helped hundreds, if not thousands, of people find a permanent way to settle in Australia. Now, I'm not sure if they're Broncos fans, I don't even know if they really like NRL. But despite that flaw, they're absolutely fantastic at helping people in understanding the little nuances with the Australian visa system and helping people to find out exactly what they need to do to call this country home. So if you want to find out what visa is most appropriate for you, go onto their website www.truebluemigration.com, and when you mention that Johnston Life, you can fill out their free visa assessment and they'll be able to tell you exactly what you need to do next. And when you decide that their service is as good as the Broncos season, definitely better than the Dolphins season, by mentioning that Johnston Life, you will also go on to save $200 off the cost of your visa, and that should be able to buy you a few tickets to your own favourite NRL game, or AFL, which I haven't really got around to watching yet. Ticket pricing, I guess that's a big thing that's really good in Australia. Generally speaking, I think sporting events are cheaper. My tickets today, I think it was about $70 for me and Aurora, but if you wanted a family pass like our friends, for 2 adults and 2 children, they only paid $100. These are probably on the cheaper end of NRL tickets. I know I pay a little bit more if I want to go and watch my beloved Broncos. And trying to get tickets for the Origin, well, that's a bit crazy, but it is a bit of a one-off every year. But I reckon I pay less in tickets here than it would cost to me to just go to an Arsenal game in the UK. And that's another thing in Queensland. There's 50-cent fares, but they don't even do those when it's attendance at a public sporting event. Your public transport is included in the price of the ticket. I think that was a leftover Sydney Olympics thing, which they've just continued for like the last 25 years. What a great idea. Now I'm going to talk about inclusivity, but not in the leftist way that's kind of ruined sometimes. But I often find with UK sporting events, even for rugby union, they're often male-dominated environments. Yes, you get the odd kid, younger boy normally, but it's great to see so many young girls, women. Why can't everyone enjoy sport? Why do we have to have these gender-defined roles? I mean, as a father of 2 girls, I've kind of raised them to be little boys anyway, just because I don't have one. But I'm not forcing them to come along. My daughter actively loves going to watch the Dolphins. I just wish she'd love going to watch the Broncos more. Now, one of the big differences that I saw in this game that I didn't really see in the last one was the idea of fan interaction. Not just between the fans. I mean, that's normally a banter thing in the UK as well. But actually incorporating fans, spectators, people that come to watch the sport into the whole game day experience. They've got t-shirt cannons, people dressed up as mascots going around taking pictures with kids. I mean, I think they got rid of Gunnosaurus. Do they even have mascots now in the UK? But one thing that really did shock me today was the whole idea that fans can go on the pitch afterwards. I don't think this is a regular occurrence, and I just think it was a thing for this particular round of the NRL. But I don't think I've ever legally or illegally gone onto the pitch. I even paid for a tour of the Emirates, and they didn't let me go on, but I cheekily just felt the turf, because I feel like you have to if you go to your hallowed ground of your beloved football team. But here they just let everyone on. So many people. I've never seen so many people on a football pitch that's been sanctioned. And of course, what did my daughters want to do? They just wanted to do cartwheels and stuff. Pretty standard for a 6-year-old girl. But on the whole, I think that sporting events in Australia just feel better. They're just happier. Sure, you get some donuts that take supporting their teams just a little bit too far, but it doesn't feel so tribal. Sure, Aussies love to win, but it's not the be-all and end-all really, unless they're playing cricket. I think I'll continue to take my kids to sporting events in Australia for, as long as they're into it really. And when a day out feels like this and it's not costing you an arm and a leg necessarily, why wouldn't you want to? Why wouldn't you want to have the family time together? Just go out and enjoy yourselves. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.